Are you guys ready?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you nerved up?
A little bit.
I wish you were. Hi, and welcome back to the CAFMA Connect. Again, I am Training Captain Eric Merrill. With you, and also with us, are our new recruits, 2 more to bring to the week. And I think what we're going to go ahead and do is the next couple of weeks is we're going to bring back the rest of the recruits, and we're just going to finish this whole thing out. So we're glad to have you guys here today. Before we introduce you, though, I would just like to do what the typical influencers, influencers? So I'm calling them influencers.
Yeah, something like that.
What they typically do is say, hey, if you're following this on whatever platform, like and subscribe. So I think I get some mad props for pulling that off. Cool, thank you. All right, well, let's go ahead and move forward. Introducing yourselves. Let's start with you, Nelson.
I'm Nelson Lopez, 32 years old. Just got hired on with CAFMA. Extremely excited. Got hired on with John here. Do you want me to go further into it? Or
yeah, go ahead and just let us know, like, where are you from?
Okay.
What are you about? What's your hobbies?
Yeah, I was born in Mesa, Arizona. Moved up here when I was about 4 years old, and pretty much grew up the rest of my life here. Went to Abaya Judd Elementary, Mile High Middle School, Prescott High School, Yavapai College. Went to Fire Science, EMS, right out of high school pretty much because I was kind of a skater punk kid. Mm-hmm. Didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I enjoyed music and art. But I also needed to go somewhere with my life, and I felt like that was the pool I was getting. So, I just kind of ran with that and joined the Forest Service when I was 20 years old, and just kind of went with that. Got on a wildland engine and then a hotshot crew, and I've been with Flagstaff Hotshots since last year until I've been hired on with you fine people. I'm really excited.
Yeah, that's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your skater phase, because that didn't come up in the oil board process.
Yeah, well, I said a little bit about it, but my brother was an older skater, or he was a skater, and I just kind of idolized that, and it was
Jesse.
Jesse.
Yep.
Okay. Well, he says hi, I'm sure, because he's going to watch this.
Jonas says hi next
time. Yeah.
Is that what skaters just say hi, or is there like a more formal skaterish way?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Is there a skater hi, terminology?
It's sick, bro.
Sick, bro, or bruh?
Bruh.
Bruh.
With the UH.
Yeah, I've been texting that to my wife lately, the bruh, and it's not going great.
Yeah, I text everybody that. It doesn't go good.
Okay, cool. Well,
I skated a lot. It was every day after school. I was a rollerblader at first and kind of fell out the wayside pretty quick with that because it's getting laughed at. But skating was the cool thing to do.
We're getting so much content right now.
Yeah. You guys
when we get back, when this thing airs, I can't wait for next week. Please keep going about your roller skating.
So we're done with the roller skating. No, I loved roller skating. I love skateboarding, but I love the dynamic of just being around friends and that unity and that family. So fire and EMS really pulled me into that, and just being around that atmosphere a lot. I followed kind of where life was pulling me, and fire and EMS just really provides that to me. So
and that's an awesome translation there. Just the camaraderie, being out there and skating with your buddies, and then you had that experience with the Wildland outfit, and then now coming into here, like it's no wonder you just jive well with all different types of people. So, well, very cool, and thank you. And I know that when you did your oral board, and we'll get to you in a minute, John, don't you worry.
Take your
go ahead and sit back for a little bit. But no, in your oral board process, you're actually on an off-district assignment. You're on a wildland assignment, and something new that we did this year is with some of our oral boards, because the dynamics of some of our candidates living farther away, we actually did yours via Zoom, and it was the second Zoom or virtual interview we'd ever done before. But it was funny, and somebody made a joke about you. It was me. That it appeared as if like he like just did a quick dry shave, buttoned his top button, shut the door to the truck, and then like set his little camera phone up, and then did his oral board. He did really well, because obviously everybody in the room, we were like, I'm just like an easygoing guy. Like, seems like he's a grinder, like out there doing the work. And he's like, hold on, guys, I got to go to the bathroom. And then like ran over the truck and did a quick interview.
Yeah, I tried to zoom in just on this part, but that button, my friend was like, it's way too tight.
Yeah, well, you did the top button, and we didn't know how to take that.
Yeah, he said it was way too tight, but I was like, I got to run with it, because this is the only shirt I brought to Idaho during that wildfire. But again, I appreciate you guys letting me do that, because the circumstances were I had to go, but you guys made it, that addition to help me, and it just it fell into place so perfectly. So I appreciate you guys letting me do that. Even though I looked like a dork, it's whatever.
We didn't say.
Well, they didn't say that. Yeah,
said other things. Yeah. Just kidding. We didn't. We actually really appreciated your oar board. It's just very real and authentic, and especially with you being out there, and then you had 2-3 people on your oar board that all have history in wildland, so we totally could empathize with that. So it was cool. I really appreciated it. So well, very cool. Well, Nelson, and we actually call him Nellie. So I'll probably call you Nellie the rest of the interview, because calling you Nelson just makes zero sense to me right now. Yeah, because we've gotten to know each other now.
Yeah.
All right, very cool. So, Jonathan, speaking of nicknames, what nickname do you have now?
Mumford.
Yeah, from Mumford and Sons.
Mumford and Sons.
I can see that.
Yeah, thank you.
I still don't understand why.
Yeah, and you won't. You won't. Maybe we'll explain at some point, like your retirement party. I'll just come up there in my wheelchair, and I'm like, this one time I saw John, and he looked like somebody that would be in Mumford and Sons or go to a Mumford and Sons concert. So I just rolled with it, and then here you are. So, well, John, awesome to have you on here, buddy. Go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us about you.
All right. My name is Jonathan Dwyer. I'm 24 years old. I was born in Scottsdale, raised in Prescott. I focused on sports almost my entire life. Took off with wrestling in middle school. Wrestled all 3 years of middle school, all 4 years of high school, a year of college. I don't have the experience a lot of these guys have with fire. I tried out for physical therapy at first, and that didn't work out. And once I moved back home, I explored my options, had a lot of good family friends tell me about the fire department, all the opportunities it holds, and how exciting of a career it is, and decided to pursue it, and I was down in Phoenix at the time, and ended up back at CAFMA, back in Prescott, and it just all fell into place. It was really nice.
That's great. And when you say home in Prescott, do you refer to the residence on Nicollet Trail?
Yes, the residence on Nicollet Trail.
Yeah, so something that I learned only a couple weeks ago is that during some of my 20s, I actually lived just 3 or 4 houses down from you. So sorry about that. But no, he said we weren't that bad.
No, not at all.
But everybody that lived in the house at that time are now professional firefighters. We're all married with kids. We've grown up. But apparently there were never any formal complaints made. So very fun fact, but just another, I guess, reminder that this is a small town still, even though it's growing leaps and bounds. So very good. So your time in Phoenix, how does that translate for somebody who's born and raised here, and then Nellie, for an example, he grew up, was raised here, and then moved out and traveled a lot with the wildland side, but you lived in Phoenix, you did other things. How did that help you grow and evolve as a person?
So as much as I loved my hometown of Prescott, it was kind of like a safe haven. People cared about me, people were concerned with my well-being, and then once I moved down to Phoenix by myself, it was big change. Definitely had a lot of growing up to do when I got there, and I'm glad I did it there. Everyone kind of keeps their head down and just does their own thing, and that was a good experience to have at the age I was. Helped me mature pretty fast, helped me understand the way life works and all the things I need to do to make sure my life's in order, and I couldn't have asked for a better experience before moving back up to Prescott.
No, and that's great, because as you see living in this town, even if you don't know people at the grocery store, everybody's saying hi to each other. Everybody's pleasant with each other. Every time I go to the grocery store, I see a lot of people helping, an older adult with their groceries, going to their vehicle or moving somebody's cart for them. And that's one of the pleasures of living and working up here, is you do just see a lot more of just that human side to things. So not to say that there's not great people down the valley too, but it's just more of a tighter connection up here. And I think that's okay to say over the podcast for all the 10 people that live up here to say that. And, well, very good. So walk us through, and I'll just say this because he's going to be too humble to say anything about it, but I kind of ask about growing up and moving out, moving back. But John, or Mumford, is it Mumford or Mumfords?
Mumford and Sons.
Mumford and Sons. Okay, well, I'm just going to roll with Mumfords. So Mumford's, he's a guy that his previous job before here, he would get up at 3 a.m. and what would you do at 3 a.m.? You go work out before work, or what was your?
So I would wake up at 3. I'd go to the gym. I didn't live far from the gym, so that wasn't too bad. And then after that, I would go to work fairly early, and I was a FedEx driver, and I would set my truck up perfect for the day. So we had loaders, we had people who did it for us, but I had a specific way I liked it, and I knew how my day was supposed to go. So I would go in and help them do it myself and get that all set up.
Yeah. So, I mean, right there, just a testament to everybody's humble natures. I mean, we've talked about this with almost every recruit that's come through here, just understanding how you people tick. And that's one of those things we draw from the oral board process. And that's one of those things that I really gravitated towards, is that you're a hustler, man. You get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, still to this day, ever since he left FedEx and came to us, he still gets up at 3 a.m. And what were you doing from 3 a.m. until you had to leave to come to the academy in the weekdays?
The weekdays, well, when
the first 9 weeks.
The first 9 weeks, it was just kind of a habit. You know, wasn't much to do. If I could, I'd just read the textbook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but that's what I'm getting at is he would still wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, and then he would spend time reading and studying and prepping for the state test he had to take at week 9. So he's still a hustler as you know, you transitioned jobs, you came to CAFMA. You've even texted me at 3:30 in the morning before. It's because he was sick, but the point was it woke me up, and I happened to start my day that morning too. But it's really neat to see that you grew up here, you moved out, you did some life growing things, you know, even for a young man like yourself. Like, you don't have a wife and kids, but you've still found other areas in which you've evolved, and I think that's awesome to see. And then how that's translated, watching him grind and work through the academy. I mean, it's been very impressive. And I tell you this, and I mean this, but I'm very proud of you. So that's one of those things I just like to point out during these academies, just how hard everybody works in their own different way. Well, awesome. Well, thanks, Mumfords. So, Nellie, back to you. So tell me about their process. So we talked about the oral board. So walk us through. You already had your Fire 1 and 2 when you got hired. So walk us through moving back here, maybe your living conditions, and just the first 9 weeks of the academy with having already had your 1 and 2, and just kind of the experience, how it played out for you.
Okay. So I got my Fire 1 and 2 back in 2009, and you might have been one of the instructors there. Mm-hmm. And it was so long ago that I had completely forgotten everything. So it was helpful to have it, you know, reinvigorated to me, and just putting that grind in and still studying and trying to pass all the tests and practicals. But I was working at the time for Flag, and then I was actually testing for Phoenix when I got the call from you guys to come interview. And once I got the call, I was like, that's all I'm going to do. I'm going to stay with CAFMA because...
take that, Phoenix.
No offense to Phoenix. It's okay.
It's okay. We got a great relationship with him. It's okay.
Yeah. So I was actually living in my trailer. I live in a trailer. I still do live in a trailer outside my parents' house at the moment. Hi, Mom and Dad.
And then this is where Jonah will like insert some funny like meme or caption or something.
And I live in a van down by the river.
So I was on the way to a fire, applied or had to get the job interview done with you guys over Zillow, or not Zillow. What is it? Zoom, right? And then got the Chiefs interview. I was so grateful that I got to do it in the truck in the rain in Idaho. But just getting that Chiefs interview, I had a lot of time to kind of prep for it. Still had to finish the fire out, and then getting the job here, I had to take it as seriously as a new profession, because that's what it is. It's my new lifestyle. So, studying all day on the weekends, just trying to understand again how this works, how the fire service works. It's exciting. Time management was a big part of it, because I was so used to my job that I was at that, it's like you get off and you kind of just hang out. Here it's a lifestyle change, and it's just you get off of work and you're still in it 24/7, and it's perfect. So the transition was a little hard, and I had to move the trailer here, and but I'm just loving it right now and just still learning every day. And now that we finished 1 and 2, I did not have to take the state test, but I took your test, which was awesome. I failed it though, because in Nebraska.
You did, yeah. Mm-hmm. He missed the last questions and negative 100 points.
But I was grateful to just be a part of all of it and help the team, and just really kind of like you said, live that interview, and you don't want to ever take anything for granted. So,
God bless you. Well, no, and thank you for that. And so let's transition from that to last week. We did 130, 190. which we had to hurry our interview with Tia and Chris up to get them back so we could get going and not lose a step there with that training, because there's so much compacted in 4 days and 40 hours with the 130, 190. And we'll continue on with other wildland aspects as we finish the academy out. But you coming from the wildland realm, and heck, you've probably taught all sorts of different wildland trainings and things to that nature. Can you kind of talk to us a little bit about the 130, 190 portion last week and some of the things you guys did and learned about, and were you utilized in some of that training as well?
Yes, I was, which is awesome, because I really appreciate that, this department is so tight knit that a recruit can come in, give his experience regardless of where he came from or how long he was with them. He still has kind of a free flowing conversation to be had with whatever's being taught. So that's awesome. I was able to teach a portion about fire shelters. So the S130, 190 class is just your basic wildland fire course. John hadn't had it, so he got to, breath of fresh air for him. He got to learn all the facets of it pretty quick. But it's just basic wildland fire tactics or operations that happen, communication, stuff like that. And we just had a lot of top-notch instructors. I mean, we had guys from coming from smoke jumping and just being on engines for years and just really knowing how it all works. And we got to burn out behind the Carta building some grass. So we got to do it all. We got to dig line. We got to prep it, plumb it with hose, and then, pre-treat the green before we burned, kind of raise that fuel moisture. And then we got to burn it out. We got to let the recruits just be on the drip torches burning, and they got to see some good fire activity. So just to have that in our academy alone, I mean, that's incredible, because normally the college classes, you're just going to do the book work, dig 10 feet of line, and then you're done. So just for you to get all of that information and experience on top of that, you're going to come into this, really in a good shape and good mindset. So it's awesome.
Yeah, and something we talked about last week in the podcast too is that it's not like there's wildland season anymore for us out here. It's a pretty cyclical. And I'll give an example. I mean, and if you want, follow us on our social media sites, Facebook, Instagram. We posted some videos of the actual training, and it was surprising how after as much snow and moisture and rain that we'd had out here recently, we still got some of those pockets to light off and torch. And we tried this a year ago. We'd had a little bit too much moisture that it smoked out a bunch, but we didn't get as much flame. But there's some pockets that dried out pretty quick, and we were able to get some good flame for the video. But that was kind of neat to see. But that just is a testament to that. It's always wildland season. It's a cyclical thing here for us in the Southwest, and especially here in the northern side of Arizona. So that's awesome. Well, thank you for helping be a part of that and bringing some of your history to that training. But John, let's shift to you for a little bit, buddy, because this is all brand new for you. So you had your EMT, but walk us through the first 9 weeks. We already kind of understand your process. You're a grinder, so we knew that you're going to come in. You're going to hustle your way through the first 9 weeks. But walk us through some of your favorite parts in the first 9 weeks and your learning process.
My favorite part definitely was the maze. The maze and the live fires. Those two were the most fun I've ever had.
I think Nelson hates the maze after the time I tackled you inside of there.
Yeah, I'm still not. I'm bitter about that one. Yeah. You tackled me and then you pushed me up against the wall.
Yeah, that's real. That happens in fires, I think. So anyway, John, back to you.
The maze is just, I know it's a rare occurrence that ever really happens in an actual incident that we get into, but it's still a fun test of our stress levels and the way we handle stress, and especially when we smoke it out and we can't see, heighten our senses, make sure we're calm and cool when we're going through something like that. And then the live fires, that was a blast. I mean, especially once you could see all of our skills start to hone in and everything started getting smooth.
Yeah.
It was just a fun experience getting to go in, hunt down the fire, put it out, doing search and rescue in the smoke. That was a lot of fun.
Good. So let me ask you this, because the reason that we do the maze drills and so many, I mean, we probably did 4 or 5 in the first just 2 weeks alone.
Oh yeah.
The big reason why I choose to do that with the scheduling is that one, it what's my biggest thing to you guys when we first start is you got to know your equipment, you got to know your limitations. So it's very seldom that it happens where you'll be on all fours and that low visibility and getting entangled and have to work your way through. The whole point is that it's a competency and confidence course. So you learn your gear, you learn your limitations, and you learn how to get out of these situations. That's probably the worst situation you could ever get into. And if you can figure out how to get out of that, it boosts your confidence that no matter what, on 2 feet or with a charged hose line, we'll be able to find our way out, or at least get to a point where we can take shelter and get a RIT crew in to rescue us. So we try to teach you early on just the worst case scenario and how to work your way through it. But like you said, and great job articulating that, just staying calm, staying focused, and be the calm in the chaos, right? So with all of those, trials and challenges in the first couple weeks, then when we put everything together in the live fire scenario and we run it more like a realistic scenario, everything seems so easy and it flows a little bit better because you don't have somebody coming in the maze to tackle you, or you don't have to work through an entanglement. Like, you're just doing what we're trained to do in environments that are more realistic because we train you to read fire dynamics and read the structures, read the smoke, and know what you can do, how fast you can do it with a calculated, aggressive tactics, right? So very cool. So what was your favorite fire we've done so far?
I'd say the Class A, because that felt the most realistic. The heat felt real, the smoke felt real. It was a different experience compared to the Class B, which was just propane and the smoke projector. Because going through that, the visibility was a little better, the heat wasn't as intense, and then we get in that Class A, might be smaller. There is the basement, but we kept it on that first floor. We might have not a lot of different crawl spaces to get into, but it feels real. Yeah.
Yep. And we'll do the basement, and you'll feel it even in that tunnel through the chimneys, so to speak, and that stairwell. You'll start feeling that heat once you start descending the stairs. And again, it's a lot more realistic. For us, though, our Class A building is just concrete block, and we have burn rooms designated on each floor with safety doors and ventilation systems, etc. But when we do these live burns, we only use a pallet and some straw, or no more than 2 pallets. So that heat is real, yes, but it's still the closest thing we can get to mimic what you would get in a real structure fire with all the synthetics and all the plastics and all the furnishings people have in their homes. So we'll get more realistic as we get towards the end in terms of packing in more stuff to simulate like furniture, so to speak. But talk a little bit about that, John, as far as like the hose management process and like for us to pull a line and go to the front door, and then what it's like when you get in with zero visibility or low visibility, high heat, moving your hose around all that furniture. Talk to us a little bit about that and how much fun that is.
So definitely to start, that was new to me and very stressful. First time going into a door with a hose and not being able to see anything. I didn't trust my senses enough, obviously. But the more we did it, the more we trained it, it started just kind of more, I gained trust in myself. So I could go in there and be like, all right, I know which way I'm going. I know I can keep my hand on the wall. I know I'm going to be okay. Like, it was a good learning process to once like I got in there to know I knew what I was doing. And yeah.
That's awesome. Well, cool. So Nellie, what do you think is probably the biggest challenge you've had to endure so far in this academy?
I would say the time management, like I was saying earlier, just knowing that you're going to go home and you're going to study, putting that in your brain and just adjusting to that lifestyle, because it's not a 9 to 5. This is my new life, at least, and everyone that works at CAFMA, it seems like it's their lifestyle, because everyone I've met so far is highly, highly motivated, and they know so much. They're so knowledgeable. So just learning how to study, when to study, the right things to understand, testing each other, practical skills. So time management was something to adjust to, and that was a little difficult at first. But I'd say the most difficult thing physically was the save your own day. That was I thought I was a strong guy coming from a crew, but I sounded like a little girl screaming sometimes trying to lift some of those guys out.
That was you? Okay.
Yeah,
now I know.
It was me.
Because nobody was owning who the high pitched scream was. But.
It's all good, Emilio. I got you. But yeah, so that was physically. I was driving home and I was like, this is harder than I've ever worked in my life, and it's awesome to push yourself to those next levels. And I'm glad that you guys provide that training to us, because we can go beyond our limits and get more comfortable with things that we're doing. So that's been awesome, but it was pretty difficult.
Cool. So would you explain for some of the viewers that maybe don't know what Save Your Own is, would you explain kind of what that is and some of the things that we did?
Right. So Save Your Own is just Maybe you are going to pull a fire line into a house, and maybe a firefighter goes down, and we need to go perform a rescue. So it's going to be 2 guys in with a hose line going to save that firefighter. So it was just a bunch of different tactics on how to get them out, what to do with their pack straps, their harnesses, anything like that, and just getting them out of a bad situation in a quick amount of time. So it was a lot of lifting, but it's just good to know, trying to build that muscle memory of, things can go bad quick, but we need to be able to adjust to it very quickly as well. So.
Yeah, and a lot of the fastest too is save your own. Really, we first teach you, which is a testament back to the maze and how much time we spend in the maze doing things, is first of all, we teach you to save yourself, or at least get yourself in a position where you can shelter in place and clearly articulate where you are, how much air you have left, and so forth for another crew to come and help you. There's a lot of data and statistics out there, thanks to Project Mayday from Don Abbott, who sadly passed away a few months ago. But there's so much data out there that actually states that the best crew that could come help you is not only you yourself in the crew that you're with, but another crew that is inside before it's actually the RIC crew that gets deployed. So we just try to bring all these tools in there in this big training and try to teach people that, one firefighter is going to have a very difficult time, if not impossible time, trying to pull one other firefighter out. Because how much do you weigh right now without any gear on?
190.
Okay, and then you tack on your bunker gear, your SCBA, a tool, whatever else that's on you, and then to ask somebody else, one other person, to be able to drag you out through, stairs, low visibility, furniture, and all those things, it's becoming more and more unrealistic. So the data is actually showing it takes multiple firefighters, if not 1 to 2 engine companies, to remove one firefighter. So that's why we put so much emphasis into that training, because that's kind of one of our worst case scenario events, right? Mm-hmm. Well, very good. Well, thank you, Nellie, for sharing all that with us. And John, we're going to close with you, brother. What do you have to offer in terms of anybody who doesn't have their Fire 1 and 2, who is looking to potentially test with us? And, it's January. And right now we're talking, and maybe I'm over speaking on the podcast, but this is my microphone. So you have to listen to what I have to say. But potentially, if applications came out in the first part of May, and we're doing a test in June and maybe an academy starting in August, that doesn't give us a lot of time right now for those who are interested in testing. So what would you recommend for somebody right now in January, 18, 19, 20, whenever this comes out? What advice would you give them right now that they would need to work on to be ready for a summer academy?
So for people who don't have their 1 and 2, I'd say grind it out. Just get it done. I know it's time consuming. It's a pain in the butt to get it all done while you're working. But if you grind it all out, you'll be very thankful later.
So you're saying take the class, or okay?
Yeah, take it when you can, and then if you already have your 1 and 2 and you're trying to apply with us, be open and honest. And a lot of that interview is a lot of vulnerability because you're selling yourself, and you can't leave those holes in because then you don't sound like you're yourself. Mm-hmm. So being honest and being yourself and being just being open.
Okay, well, and that's awesome. So with that vulnerability, I'm going to ask you, what are you most excited about when you get out of the academy and you get to the engine? What are you looking forward to the most?
I'm so excited to put my skills to the test. I know fires are kind of few and far between, but even just responding to any incidents, going through those processes and having to build that routine, I'm very excited to get that all situated where I'm functional and a helpful member of the whatever station I end up being at.
Yeah, well, that's awesome because I just started year 16 in my career and I'm still trying to figure that out. So you guys are way smarter than me, so I look forward to you guys giving me some tips along the way. And I'll just tell you guys, just like everybody else that's come through and everybody else that will, I'm very proud of the work that you all have put in. The trainers are very proud of the work that you all put in. We still got a few more weeks left to go, and we will move forward next week with 2 more recruits. And the week after that, we're going to do our last recruit and one of our RTOs. They're going to come in and we're just going to kind of put a cap on the experience of the academy and just offer any more last advice to anybody who's looking to test with us in the near future. So, gentlemen, thank you for being here. And for all you out there, again, like, subscribe, and all those really cool quotes that people say, the influentials.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thanks to you guys. We'll see everybody else next week.
Thank you.